And then there's also the need to, I think, draw that line between the kind of language you can use on the corporate perhaps page and on one's personal page. And speaking of language, social media has created a whole sort of dialect of its own.
Yes.
Where and when, or to whom are you supposed to use some of these things? Because there's the likes of ION, BTW, and you just can't, you really just can't keep up.
Yes. Well, for official communication in general, my advice would be that keep it as close to the English dictionary or the Swahili dictionary in the Kenyan case as possible. Avoid, and this happens a lot when new employees come up and you're doing an email, and instead of you, you write you, the letter, you know, and you write LOL in the middle of your email. That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable corporate practice. So you need to separate your social life from your what do you call it, real life. But as I say that, a lot of those words that came up with social media have recently been added to the English dictionary. So they are acceptable words, but they're not societally accepted yet. So you need to be careful in terms of who, you need to understand, who am I sending this mail to, who's the end consumer, how many end consumers do I have? And generally the practice has been, and this is across the world, to adopt the formal way of communicating. Probably in another 20, 30 years that might change, we don't know. But for right now, keep it official. Keep it, dear sir, dear madam, herein find attached the requested form, the requested whatever. Keep it like that. Don't say, hi, what's up? Here's the thing you asked for. Then you sign off XOXO.
LOL.
Yes, LOL. You know, it's keep it official.
Right.
But then again, now when you come to your social media space, it's important to keep up with the lingo, because you could get lost in the conversation, and then you start feeling lonely in a crowd. Because sometimes there's a group of your friends chatting, and they write NP Tracy Chapman, and you're like, MP? Is Tracy an MP now? So it's very, very important that you have, you keep up with the lingo for your own personal use, especially now if you're using social media to interact socially. Probably you need to make friends, probably online dating, things like that. So you need to keep up with the lingo. Yes.
And maybe as we try to wrap up, online dating, do or don't? Well,
online dating, I would say yes, with a lot of caveats on it, a lot of be careful tags on it, because when a lot of people, I'm aware, across the world are getting busier and busier, so it's harder and harder to meet new people, and so a lot of people are turning onto the digital space to go to get a date, to find a life mate sometimes. But it's very important to understand that I can take a picture of Andrew Kenneth, who's very popular, and put him as my profile picture, and then ask for a date. Then when you show up, and suddenly it's not him, you know. So before you go, before you turn your digital date into a physical date, do as much research as you can. Okay, usually try and find, does this person have brothers, does sisters, relationship, friends? Can I piece together their life story online, or do they just appear as a person suddenly out of nowhere? So it needs, then you also need to be very careful. Ask the important questions. How old are you? Where are you from? What do you believe in? What is your religious background? At the end of the day, the best way to be secure is have as much information as possible, because information is power. Yes.
And finally, for you, Mark, as a person, what is the one rule of netiquette that you would, tell people to abide by?
Personally, I'll give two. Please don't take pictures of your food. I find that ridiculous. But on a serious note, the most important rule of digital etiquette is know your consumer. Everything you're posting, everything you're inboxing, everything you're saying has a consumer. know that person. Think about that person. A lot of the time we think about ourselves and we just want to say whatever. So that's when we come up with issues of you've abused either a race, you've abused a religion, you've contravened a taboo, or some sort. So it's very important to be aware that you have a listening public. That's why it's called a media. Yeah, because in TV media, for example, you know that there's a consumer to this, so there are things you can say. So it's the same thing for social media. Even though, as it is, that particular consumer is a segment of the market, but nonetheless is a consumer. And it's a consumer of either your product, if you're selling something, of your persona, if you are a public figure, or just your social circles. How do you want them to perceive you? It's very important.
All right, thank you so much for being with us, Mark.
Most welcome.
Of course, with us in studio, we've had Mark Bichachi, who is a digital media consultant, telling us about the rules of Netiquette, how to interact online. Because now with the internet coming in, there's a lot of interaction that is going on online. And of course, I'm sure you've learned plenty on the same. I have been your host, Christine Mbithi Magori. Thank you for joining us.